Welcome back, everybody. Spot On Jaguars, brought to you by Teal Reign. It's another victory cigar day as the Jaguars came off the destruction of the Tennessee Titans. On today's show, we're going to talk about that game. We're going to get to some viewer mailbag questions, and we're going to go over a preview of the upcoming game, big game versus the Houston Texans. So if you like Jaguars football and all things Duval, hit the like and subscribe button, mash the notification bell, and let's get started. All right, everybody, we're back. It's Eric, Jeff, and Ben one more time. Coming off the beatdown of the Tennessee Titans. Exciting game, big divisional game, big win. But at the end, it was a game we expected to win. We're going to talk about that game first. A game that we should have won, we expected to win, and it was 34-14. It wasn't very close. Clean game, no turnovers.
What score did you say it was going to be?
I predicted 35-17. You had the same exact score.
Yeah.
Ben,
I just want to check.
Not so close. We actually got close for the prediction. That's our closest one yet.
So far, yeah.
We've hit close on a few ones. But no, this was a game we should have won.
Yeah.
I think everyone agrees. Right to the stats. Trevor Lawrence, big day, 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 in the air, 24 for 32, 262 yards, and 5 carries for 17 yards into 2 touchdowns.
No fumbles, no interceptions.
But
actually, can you just be quiet? Just for a little bit, just for this segment. I'm petitioning that he isn't allowed to talk after the Trevor slander from last episode of Jeff going in and crying about
I supported him.
If you missed the last episode, I highly suggest you go back and rewatch Jeff's tirade.
But did I not, at the end of the show,
he was spitting fire.
He's going to score 4 touchdowns.
Okay, you did.
Did I not say
the prediction
that?
was there.
Yeah, you said
but
something.
the flames that came out about Trevor Lawrence.
I had belief. I just said, get better. Right the ship. And he did. He played like he's supposed to play.
But the guy that we're going to talk about.
Are you taking credit for the
Yes, absolutely.
Trevor heard that. Yes, he heard
show,
that segment and he knew.
He's like, I can't let this little mother talk about me.
Yeah.
I actually
I know how you feel, Trevor.
I
know how you feel, Trevor.
Trev. We'll catch him at the Waffle House.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the big thing about the offense, Calvin Ridley. This is it. This was one of the big games that we've actually been waiting for. 7 catches, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, making plays all over the field. They couldn't keep up with the guy. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we wanted the whole season. This is the go-to receiver. This is an elite NFL talent doing what he's supposed to do. Finally, threw his hat in the ring and said, I'm here. Trevor got him the ball. It was efficient. It was a great day. And not to, get too big. It was the Titans, but it is a divisional game. And it was a big win. And, yeah, that's what we did.
Titans.
And it's the Titans.
And we don't like the Titans. ETN.
Passionately hate with every instant of our soul.
Travis Etienne chipped in 14 carries, 52 yards. That's 3.7 yards per carry. Also had 3 catches. Christian Kirk, quiet day, 3 catches, 48 yards. Ingram, 4 catches, 29 yards. Quiet days for them, too. But sometimes, Trevor can spread the ball around when he's seeing the field like that. Was getting the ball to Calvin early, often, and that's what it was. Also, Jaguars dominated in time of possession, 36 minutes to Tennessee's 23 minutes, and they never really got their offense going. Derrick Henry only had a quiet day, 10 carries for 38 yards.
Which I haven't seen that when he plays us.
Mm-hmm. He's
like,
their offensive line is no
yards.
good. He's still been putting up numbers this year, but their offensive line is no good. And versus defense like ours who stops a run so well, I mean, that was just a recipe for disaster. So
this is just a new Jaguars defense where they're an elite run-stopping unit, other than the San Fran game. But this is even a guy like Derrick Henry, who's on the fast track to the Hall of Fame, couldn't get anything going on the ground. They do have a rookie quarterback, Will Levis, 13 for 17, 158 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns, but they were
They were late.
They were late, and they weren't ever in the game. So this is
one of them shouldn't have even counted because of that BS. Roughing the passer because we had them. They were done. They were getting off the field, and then the refs gave them another chance, and then they scored on the next play, I believe it was. But what a horrible call. I mean, what are you supposed to do? They were tackling. That was a tackle,
right?
And they got flagged for it. So I don't.
Like I said, we took care of business, but this is now what I want you to speak to is a team with Super Bowl hopes, Super Bowl aspirations has to take care of business against the lesser teams, so to speak, in the NFL, even if it's your division rival, longtime rival, the Tennessee Titans. Tell us what you saw, your takeaway from the game. Ben, me and you were actually talking about the offensive line play, which finally showed
that's
up.
When the first guy you talked about was Trevor, who announced today the AFC offensive player of the week, Trevor.
That's true, really?
Yep. Offensive player of the week.
Trev.
I know he makes a up sometimes, but he's actually
no, that's big. I like it.
That's real. Trevor, who I personally never doubted, and have always supported.
Just taking shots at you, Jeff.
So the offense.
First of all, I never doubted him. I just said let's take accountability. I still believe in him, but let's
a little bit of
come
doubt.
on.
Okay, so one of the biggest things that I take away from the game was while Tennessee is not good, their defensive front is good. That's like one of the things that they do well.
They got
on the
some
team.
pretty
That's
good, like Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key from Jaguars fame.
Yep.
I mean, they got some real good pieces on the defensive line.
Right, and I think they got, what was it, 2 quarterback pressures? They got 1 sack, but I think it was when Trevor ran out of bounds. It wasn't like they went in.
It counts as a sack, but he didn't get touched.
Exactly.
He ran out of bounds.
So the reason I think that Trevor was able to play well, and the reason why I think that Trevor...
I like how you put so much emphasis on the reason.
The reasons that we're here. Sorry.
I hope this makes the final edit. I hope this makes the cut.
You know I can do it like that.
I hope this makes the cut, please.
So the reason that Trevor was able to, target Calvin Ridley and to be successful was the offensive line, and they have not been performing. They've been, and again, whatever the reason, whether it's injuries or suspensions or just playing all the different, not having the cohesion. They were awesome versus the Titans, and that's what I was looking at. That was one of the main things I was looking at going into the game was how's our offensive line going to play against one of the only strengths that the Titans have is their defensive line, and they passed with flying colors. They protected Trevor, and he was able. And the other thing too, though, is so yes, he had the time, but talking about Ridley, Zay was back. And Zay, I think, it opens things up for
taking the lid off the defense.
Yep.
It
and
takes
he
the
was
pressure
running
off
like crossers. It wasn't like he was just, but it was.
They have to respect that kind of talent, that kind of speed.
I mean, he even had 4 catches.
Yep. Yeah. Zay was there. He was a factor, but I just think that A, Trevor having time, and B, some of the pressure being taken off of Ridley, or because of Zay and others, it worked. It worked for us.
I know.
And so,
in one more thing, I'd like to get to the apology segment of the show. Jeff has something to say directly to Trevor Lawrence. Jeff,
I apologize.
Jeff, this is stubbornness.
I'm just saying. No, I never doubted him. I said in the last show he will write. I believe in him. He needs to write.
Yeah, that was kind of like that was an
what
afterthought.
What you're playing
bro.
is not
that
what
was,
we think you are. Like, I'm like,
it
step
was
it
like
up,
this much of an apology and like 10 minutes of you going in on
do
it.
better.
Yeah.
Do
All
better,
right.
which he did. He did better. He played like
but
we
that's not the
expect him
point.
to play.
The point was that I thought you were being just the same as a lot of the other naysayers and everybody that came out of the woodwork. It was one bad game versus maybe the best team in the NFL.
But it wasn't one bad game.
It was one bad game.
He said several one bad. He said several games, like the Houston game, the Kansas City game, and then every game that we won should have been a bigger score. But he would turn the ball over and not do.
Is there
what he's supposed
anything
to
Jeff going off and having a whole tirade about Trevor and Trevor winning offensive player? Can you say something bad about ETN or maybe about Ridley this week so maybe they will?
No, I have nothing bad to say about ETN. He averaged what he normally averages.
No. He's trying to get you to reverse. Curse.
No, I can't. I can't fake it.
All right.
Well, but the last thing that I'll say about it, and my stance on your rant is, again, he didn't play well versus the 49ers. Part of that was the same reason that maybe he hasn't performed to whatever your standard is that you're holding him to, is the offensive line. He didn't have time. Last Sunday he had time, and he was more than a first-read quarterback. And that's all my argument was that, yeah, you were kind of going in on him because of a bad game, and I'm saying, yeah, he didn't play well, but other games, I think that the entire offense has been hampered, starting with the main reason being the way the offensive line is played a lot of the times. But I rest my case.
Just like last show, You said you're not the smartest person, and we're going to stick with that.
Moving along to the defense. Now let's talk about the fun. The defense.
Save that, and then I know the mailbag question that came through. And
all right,
that'll be one. That'll be
we'll
one.
Get to, all right, yeah. We'll jump back to that in a minute. Okay, back to the defense. 4 players chipping in with a half sack each. Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Cisco, and Alua Khan, each getting a half of a sack. Stopped the run completely. Like I said, had Derrick Henry tied up 10 carries for 38 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, which isn't bad, but they couldn't even get the run game going at all.
This guy too.
Is that a Lil Khan's back-to-back game with sack? Because he normally doesn't get a lot of sacks. That's back-to-back games.
What he had two games ago,
games.
and then
and
that was what we talked when we were talking about our players that make the Pro Bowl. We were saying that Lil Khan needs to get some sacks. He's got 3 now. I mean, I don't know how that guy didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Quiet days from all the receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, Will Levis didn't get anything going. I mean, we kept their offense pinned down.
And another, I'm glad you brought up Levis too, because another part of your tirade was you were comparing Trevor's numbers.
Levis was
right?
never in that conversation.
Correct. Okay. Do you think Will Levis is better than Trevor Lawrence?
No one thinks that.
Do you think he's on par with him?
No.
Okay, well then tell me what Will Levis's quarterback rating was from that game the other day. And so my point to all this, I'll cut to the chase. Will Levis's quarterback ranking, what was it, 143?
Yes.
He had 143. So numbers are misleading. So you can compare certain things about Trevor and QBR and all this and that. Eye test. And
I don't think anyone was going to go overboard and say that Levis was on the same.
No, but I'm just bringing that up just because.
I'm talking about 9 games into the season.
Right.
The stats of who he is with.
Stats are misleading.
Stats of who he is with. These guys like Baker Mayfield and Mac Jones, they get crapped on by the media and everybody. While Trevor is no one. Everybody's pacifying him, and I'm guilty because we pacified him. And this game, the San Francisco game, I was like, okay, I'm over it. I'm over the pacifying because he looked like he was way out of sorts.
Hey, that's fine. We can move on. But my whole point with Will Levis was, his rating was good, but if you watch the game, just like if you watch Trevor and you watch Mac Jones play, there's no comparison. I don't care what the numbers say. Numbers are misleading.
I don't think anyone thinks that that's truth. But we have Jeff
probably
playing
does.
defense right now for his take last week, as well as the Jaguars play defense. But this is about the Jaguars defense. The defense showed up. The defense balled out.
He's like, guys, we got to stay on.
Come on, let's just stay
on.
Defense. Defense balled out. Defense made Levis look bad. I mean, that's not his. The defense has something to do with that. And looking real good. And Jeff, I know you want to talk about special teams. Logan Cook, 2 punts.
Cook, man,
51 yards per.
I love the guy.
Guy.
He's the man.
Yeah,
man. 2 kicks, 51 yards.
What about old Ross, man?
Yeah, that was.
I love
Ross
Logan
Matisic.
No, but I really do.
Right? Ross Matisic. The long snapper.
Oh, that's the one you talked about, which I had no idea.
He goes down. He makes a tackle and forces the fumbles. So, I mean, if we're going to talk about special teams,
no, that's when everyone's chipping in.
Like Logan Cook, he just he gets us out of bad situations.
Yeah.
Like if we can't get offensive goal, we're going to pin. You can guarantee he's going to pin that offense back in the field, and that's what I like about him.
Yeah. I don't think we have much to say about this was just a good game, good solid game, good win, good division win. Not too much more to say. Any wrap up? Anything else you want to say about the game?
And Brandon McManus, let's talk about him. He's been on point this year.
He's real good.
Except for the
Houston game.
No, he's a good player.
So we need him.
We didn't even show up.
So
no one showed up.
So I think in summation, I think that the Titans are in their terrible team era, and we have kind of taken the role of their dad.
Yes. I mean, I hate to say this about them, but I do love saying it about them. Yeah. They were a cupcake team coming off a loss, getting ready for a bad, very tough stretch for us. We needed this game
we took
to
care
dominate, to build a morale after a terrible 49ers game. And Titan fans, I'm so sorry to say this about your team. I'm really not. But it was a cupcake game. So
and we really did need that coming up for this is going to be what we all knew was the tough stretch of the schedule going to the end of the season. Yep. So we did need the big victory. So moving right along, we'll do the mailbag now because our last question is going to lead into our preview. So let's start. We actually get this a couple times. Last was Josh asked, how long does it take to film the actual show, the podcast? And I guess we could say so. obviously we're here. What time do we show up and what time do we leave?
I got to fill my
Start
drink
to
up
finish.
twice.
So 2 drinks.
Oh, once. One, yeah. One's full, and then I got to refill.
So can you measure that in a time frame? Is that like
hour and a half, maybe?
Hour and a half?
Yeah, hour and a half.
So if you see a 40-ish minute video on YouTube,
Hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, so we
you're seeing about half of the actual time.
honestly the hardest thing for us is, you got 3 people. You have one that's like a hardworking family man. You have another guy that works a little bit, has a little bit of a drinking problem, and then you have another guy that sleeps all day and plays cards at night. So,
I have 2 jobs. Okay.
no, he works. But it's getting 3 people's schedules together, and then then we usually come over, sit down, kind of talk over a little bit what we're going to talk about, little pregame, and then the rest of it's filming. Unfortunately,
I get to stay here because it's my house, so they got to come to my house, which is very fortunate.
right. This is the reason that he's on the show. He had a room, but yeah. So hour and a half. We get here. Little pregame, 15 minutes or so, shoot, and then there's a lot of stuff that we don't leave in the show, and maybe I'll release some of that because some of it's gold.
The outtakes,
the outtakes are great. The outtakes are great.
One day,
but it's a family podcast.
All right, next question. Now, listen. Surprisingly, this is from Steven. Why do you guys always hate on Jeff? The Jeff slander is getting some traction here. They're trying to pick up on the Jeff slander.
Well, I would like to know if Steven has ever watched a show because Jeff runs his mouth a lot.
I would like to say Jeff deserves any hate, criticism, whatever coming his way. Because the editing makes Jeff look a lot more.
Yeah, let's hear from Jeff. Jeff, why do you
Jeff
think
looks a lot more innocent from the edits than he is.
According to my mom, I'm an angel.
Yeah.
Okay. And the most handsomest man in the world. According to my mother. So, I mean.
And you.
I don't say that. I don't say that.
I will say this. The Jeff slander is deserved because a lot of the stuff that Jeff gets hated on for doesn't make the final cut. So just trust it. Actually, I want some of this to be in the outtakes. I want some of Jeff's egomania to make some of the outtakes when we do finally release it.
And Eric and I just are more, at least with each other, we're more straight to the point. It's, I think I put out the video of us, how we talk to each other. It's more like screaming, yelling, slurs.
I think I've offered a sword fight, a duel. I've offered a duel, a sword fight. So yeah, we're gonna.
Got a glove one time, slapped it on the face. I didn't see that part.
And final, this is actually we have almost a dozen people. The Texans game. Is this a must-win considering the schedules going forward? Is this a must-win game? And we're going to talk about this and get into the preview of the Houston game. Taking a look at the schedules going forward for both teams. Here, actually, Jeff, Houston's schedule for the rest of the season.
We got, obviously, the Jaguars. Then they are home against the Broncos, at Jets, at Titans, home against the Browns, home against the Titans, and then away at the Colts.
Okay, so formally, their toughest game, other than outside Jaguars, would have been the Browns prior, and they just lost to Deshaun Watson for the year. So I think it's safe to say that the Houston Texans will be favored in every one of those games for the rest of the season. They'll be favored to win.
They'd be favored, but the Broncos game, you don't know what Broncos going to show up. The Jets, they're going to switch quarterbacks. They got a really good defense. The
Browns just beat the Steelers.
Browns, they still got a good defense. The Colts, you got Minshew.
Obviously, we like Minshew. Obviously, we're hoping they don't win out, but I'm saying they're going to be the favorite pregame in all of those games coming forward. Yeah. And the Jaguars schedule, looking forward, is read those to me.
Obviously, we're at Texans, and then Monday Night Football, Bengals.
Right.
Then you go at Browns. Sunday Night Football, Ravens. Then you go at Buccaneers, home against the Panthers, and then at Titans in Nash Vegas.
Okay, so
I'll be there.
Obviously, the Browns, we have same issue with the quarterback. Bengals, same thing, issue with the quarterbacks down for the year. So we got lucky on those two fronts. The Ravens game is going to be a tough game.
They're going to look for redemption after that last year.
Right, that's obviously going to be a tough game. The Bucs game, that's not a lay down game. They're not just going to lose. They're going to fight. So the Jags have the tougher of the two schedules. Now, looking at the records, Jaguars 7-3, Texans are 6-4. If the Texans win this week, both teams would have the same exact record, with the Texans owning the tiebreaker for having 2 games won for the season. So going forward, they're looking like they're going to be favored in every game. Jaguars have a little bit more of a difficult schedule, not the cupcake schedule, but they're going to have the same record with the tiebreaker. Does that make this a must win?
This is
game?
one of the this is probably the biggest game of the year out of it all, because how they manhandled us at home,
right,
and how they manhandled us at home, and then just the outcome. Like if they beat us, now they're 2 games ahead of us, head to head wise. But they're tied with us in the division, but they got the head to head ahead of us, and then the way their rest of their schedule
they'd be
is
a game up.
right,
Or no, they'd be tied.
They'd be tied, but
with
the
tiebreaker.
What I mean to say when I said 2 games, because they beat us twice, so they get the tiebreaker, and their schedule's not as tough as ours. They're playing really good football. I think they're 6-1 the last 7 games. They're playing fire.
All right, so here's my question: do you think that the Texans kind of snuck up on the
100%.
Jaguars earlier in the season when no one knew how good C.J. Stroud's playing out of his
Lights
mind?
out.
So nobody kind of knew what they were about to become. And do you think that the Jaguars maybe took that for granted or didn't play up to expectations? Whereas this time they're not going to sneak up on the Jaguars, or you at least hope so.
I don't know, because it was such a shellacking.
It was, but to me, I think they definitely were sleepwalking that game. I think that it was.
But history shows they always beat us.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like from year to year, you're talking about when you say they always beat us. I mean, there's a lot of players that
new players
new players on both teams.
Right.
But I will say that could impact it, because I mean, being a player, the same way as they talked about the Titans, like, hey, like Trevor said, that was one of the first things. I think Josh Allen too, that when I got here, that I was told we don't like the Titans, right?
Yeah,
so they hear storylines, they hear about the trends, and so while that may not immediately impact it, you get into the third quarter and you're losing, or the fourth quarter and you're losing, then that's got to kind of creep in your head about like, not again, right? And then maybe you start pressing a little bit too much or whatever.
Well, like last year, they beat us at home in a miserable, low-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
It was we were there, boring, but then we went.
Were you at that one?
Yeah, I was.
No, I wasn't. He's talking to me.
I was gonna say
That was rhetorical.
That was rhetorical. But then we go to Texans and absolutely demolish them last year.
Yeah, now they were beat up, and I think I feel like they had a backup quarterback in, and we had to have that. So like, that was a big win, but it wasn't like super impressive.
They could have been tanking. I mean, at that point for the quarterback.
Right. But I just think that, I mean, honestly, the history of the Texans, I feel like when they came in, the Jags, we didn't kind of take them seriously. Like they were the expansion team.
Did we overlook?
No, I'm talking about going back to
history.
The history. Like when they first came in, it was kind of like we didn't take them seriously, but they wanted to beat us. Like we were kind of like we had a target on their back. They would always wear the battle red, and they wanted to, they always wanted to beat us, and they did. They beat us early on, even when we had a decent team. Then they got built up, and they had a good team, like Arian Foster and Andre Johnson. Right. They had a good team, and we were garbage. And then they continued to beat us when we were garbage, and then it's continued like. Last couple of years, we've had a good team, and they've been. So, I mean, the trend is that they've had our number, and maybe they've assumed the mantle of kind of the thorn on our side, like the Titans were for a long time, and we exorcised those demons, it seems like. So, going into this year and then this game upcoming is I feel like the start of the year, we were in that kind of reading our own press clippings. I mean, Peterson basically said as much. I mean, he
right.
kind of alluded to that. So they came in, and we thought we could just show up, and it was just a lot of bad stuff happened. I mean, not only just the play, but stuff that was, kind of fluky stuff, like McManus, missing a kick, getting one blocked, a fullback returning, a punt.
That's unbelievable.
Was it a punt or a kickoff?
It was a kickoff.
Kickoff. It was just, and we couldn't flip the switch. So now going into this game, this is huge. And one thing that has been the trademark of our team the last 2 years is they play better when their backs are against the wall. They play better when and so it's
and they play better away.
And they have played better away. I think that's part of the backs against the wall, because when you're on the road, it's you versus everybody, and I think that's how they get their mind. What were we gonna say?
I was waiting on you to finish, but if it was before we beat them last year 31-3 at their place, they won 9 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot of bad Jaguar teams, though. But nevertheless, I mean, you still can pop up and win one every once in a while.
If you go back to 2014 and look at the wins,
they've had our number.
They've always on us.
Shout out to the guy that comments on our videos too. There was a guy that came on, a Texans fan, that said in our prediction, like one of our first shows, he was like, "The Texans are going to win," and that could have. Maybe he's like a soothsayer, or that's just
he's a Texans fan.
He's a Texans fan, so he's going to say they're going to win. And then he came back and said something after they beat us that first game, and hey, you got it. I mean,
see if you're quiet this game.
Yep.
No, I hope he's watching. I want to see it. Comment, say something in this game too. Let's see. Actually, put your prediction in the comments. How about that for the score of the game? Because we're going to give ours.
Somebody else commented on the Niners video, and he just commented Niners. So I need people to talk before the game.
Oh yeah, if it's after, I don't want to hear it.
I don't like that.
If it's before the game,
give me a prediction.
Say what
go
you
hit
want
the
to say.
comments. Yeah, predict
all right,
before the game.
Let's talk the heads up comparison versus Trevor Lawrence and their rookie sensation quarterback C.J. Stroud, who this guy, he's going to win Rookie of the Year hands down. Barring injury, there's not even a close second. He's winning it. You don't usually see rookies come in and light the league on fire the way that this guy is. The numbers are, otherworldly. 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns to 5 interceptions for C.J. Stroud. Trevor's numbers, 2,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He does have a few rushing touchdowns. That's, we're picking straws here, but this C.J. Stroud, he's a great player, and for years to come, we're going to have to see this guy twice a year in our division. Very high draft pick. They have a crop of young receivers. They're throwing the ball all over the field, too. Good running game.
Tank Dell
and he had
Nico Collins.
He threw 3 interceptions last game. So just imagine if you just threw like one. Like
if you have a normal
he threw
game.
3 interceptions last game.
Yeah, but this guy is tracking to be a superstar. He's already probably at that level, and we're gonna have to see this guy twice a year going forward.
And I called him trash.
Yeah, that's the preseason. Yeah, you thought this guy was going to be a bust.
Because he's from Ohio State, and y'all have never produced a quarterback in your entire history of being around.
Yeah,
You've been around for 250 years.
I was sold when he played Georgia and saw the way he played versus all those guys. They have all those NFL players, and he was money.
I think it's DeMarco Murray as the new coach who's really transformed him.
DeMarco Murray?
Ryan.
What's his name? DeMeco Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I'm talking about. I'm just trying to make stuff up.
Yeah. All right. No, they're good, though.
Wait, DeMarco Moore's a running back.
Yeah. That's way out in left field. All right. They're good. They're good, and C.J. Stroud, for years to come, looks like the future of that franchise.
Honestly, what it looks like is this could be...
their fans have got a lot to be happy, excited about.
Manning, Brady, one of those.
That, but
in our division, I don't think Levis is good. With Richardson, if he can stay healthy going forward, I liked what I saw out of Richardson. You're bust.
I think he's a bust still.
Right. But I'm just saying. But going forward, it's exciting. I'm a little upset. I was kind of hoping that they would all be busts and not work out like is often the case with quarterbacks. And it looks like maybe two quarterbacks in the same draft are going to be good
Stroud
players.
Could be a one-kid wonder.
No.
Who knows?
All right, let's go over the injuries for the game. Zay Jones, Tyson Campbell, both questionable. Key players for us. Texans.
Zay's questionable?
Zay's questionable. He's on the designated.
He must just be listed that. Yeah, he's going to play.
We expect
Tyson Campbell, I would be
okay,
surprised.
so they're both on the polar ends of the questionable. We expect Zay to play. We don't expect Tyson to play, but they're both designated.
What do we know about Agnew? I know he's questionable.
No, he's on the IR.
Out.
Okay, he's out.
So he's out. For them, high draft pick, Will Anderson, rookie, Alabama pass rusher. He's listed as questionable. Laramie Tunsil, all-world left tackle for them, also listed as questionable. So we're about even, 2-2 on the questionable list.
Well, last time their offensive line was all banged up, and we didn't sniff Stroud. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
That game was just. We're not going to talk about that.
But there's just no way to stress the level of importance this game has, the ramifications.
This is massive.
This is it. This is almost a playoff game. If you could have a bigger scenario for a bigger game, there couldn't be one. So this is huge.
This is the biggest one of the season.
You know, I think we all get caught up in the moment, and I agree 100%. Like, I'm excited about this game. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm super hyped. And this might be the biggest game of the year. Now, with that said, if we were to lose, season's not over, and we could still win the division. Because there's a lot of – I mean, look at what we did last year in the second half of the season. You know, we went – you know, anything can happen. And we always freak out in the early part of the season because something happens and the sky's falling and then, you know, things change. But I will say that if we lose this game, I think that I just think that we're a better team than them. Now, we can't – they would have bragging rights. I'm not making excuses or whatever. If we win, I think I saw the odds were like 90%.
That's all, 83%.
Yeah, it's the 90% chance of making the playoffs, winning the division, whatever it was. I feel like that the season's not over for us. If we win, that there's still a chance we can win the division and obviously make the playoffs. If they win, if we win, I think we're kind of sitting in the driver's seat. I think that the odds are that they would have a tougher time making the playoffs or winning the division.
So you would say that this is a huge game.
Correct. We've all been saying that.
Yeah, it's a big game, and I don't want to lose it. Well, obviously, I don't want to lose this game, but losing this game, depending on how we lose and know the significance of it, then going on Monday Night Football with this loss,
right?
It's going to be with the spotlight.
This isn't going to be a loss. It's going to be a win. Our predictions for the game. I'm going to go first. I actually think this is going to be close, real close. I got Jaguars 21, Texans 20. I'm going to add a caveat. I think the Jaguars are going to win it in the final drive. I think they're going to come back, put together a drive. Trevor's going to take over, show us what he's got, and put together a touchdown drive to win it 21-20 in a really good game. A really good game. That's my prediction for the game. Jeff, I'll let you go next.
I'm going to go 28-24 Jags.
Ooh, you got a big 28-24 Jags.
Yeah, and it's going to be 28-17, and they're going to score to make it 28-24, but they never get a chance to score again.
All right, Ben?
I'm going to say Jags 30-24.
Y'all got some high scoring. That's 54 to
well, both
That's
offenses
huge.
are really good, but they,
All right,
we'll
all right.
see.
Well, so we got our predictions out, so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, tune into this. This is going to be a big game, folks. This is going to be a big game. Leave some comments. Tell us what you think is going to happen. Put your predictions up there. I mean, we have to say ours. We get embarrassed sometimes. Put your own score predictions in the comments.
If you're a Texans fan and you want to run your mouth after the game, or
I don't want to hear it after the game. Save it. I'm turning the comments off after the game. I don't unless the Jags win. Then we'll leave
Tell us what you think before the game. Leave us a comment.
All right. Let's move on to our season-long pick'em challenge. We're gonna pick some other games.
We can skip that.
No. We don't need to skip that. Let's get right into it. Jeff, bad news for you last week. 0-3, and you went against.
Sometimes the greats fail.
Myself, Ben, and me had the same exact 3 games, so we picked up 3 games on Jeff. Bring in the season totals. Ben with 26 wins. I got 25. Jeff's got 20.
They pick safe a lot. They're like, who'd you pick? Oh, I'm tied with you. Let me pick up.
At least I pick who I think is going to win. You tell us you have a sleeper pick and won't pick it. You won't put your name on it. You won't stamp it.
You also keep saying, "Oh, I got to make up some ground, so I'm going to do this," and then you just keep falling further and further.
I'm not talking about me.
All right. So this week we differ on 3 games. The first one's the Tennessee-Carolina game. Myself and Ben went Tennessee. Jeff has the Panthers in a shocking upset. The Bills-Eagles, which actually should track to be a good game. Yeah. Jeff's going with the Bills.
Eagles are due for a loss.
Me and Ben with the Eagles.
Short week, coming off a big win.
No, I could see that. Yeah.
And then the last one's Bears-Vikings. I went different. I got the Bears. They had a lead on the Lions last week, going to 3 minutes left. They were up 2 scores.
Vikings. Josh Dobbs playing good.
Both of you guys went with the Vikings and Josh Dobbs. Both you guys got the Vikings. So we'll see. Like I said, Ben with the 1-game lead on myself, and Jeff's a few games back. So you got to make up. You got to make some ground. But listen, before we
have I ever trailed? I think I've led
in the beginning.
Wire to wire. Wire. You're down. You're up 1 right now.
I'm wire to wire.
You better. You don't look in the review. It's coming up.
Okay, Captain Hook.
All right. Now let's get to.
You're trailing a hairline.
Let's get to fantasy. Let's talk about fantasy football.
Man.
I don't want to call it a winning streak. And let me just be real honest.
This dude's come out the shadows.
I wasn't
of
even
dead
really
last.
keeping up with the fantasy until you guys
Dead
wanted
last.
to get on here and start giving me smoke and talk all your trash. And finally I said, you know what? Let me log on. Let me take a look. Let me see what's going on. You guys can't win a game. They're not even close. They're blowouts. I check Sunday afternoon. I'm like, oh, it's already over. You can't even catch up. Can somebody put up some competition? Can somebody do something? You're getting killed.
You got me this weekend.
Do I?
Yes, you do.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good one. Actually, get ready.
The
The text thread is gonna be hot. I'm talking trash this week, boys. I'm coming out swinging.
I think Ben's on a 3-game skid.
Yeah, losing ground
Lee is
quickly.
on a 4-game skid. Y'all play each other, so
One of you has to win.
Losing streaks.
So we'll have some fun
But
with that this
I got a
week.
comfortable 2-game lead.
I'm about to make it one. I'm taking you down this weekend. So let's see what happens.
It does have us 50-50.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be a
Does
good
have us
match.
50-50.
I'll be talking some smack on Sunday. So we'll see what happens.
Trevor's my fantasy league quarterback in actually all my leagues. So
well, there you go.
that's why I get upset.
He had 4
sometimes.
touchdowns. All right.
But he's my quarterback in this league.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh.
That's right.
All right, everybody. That'll wrap it up for this week. Remember, huge game. Watch the Texans and the Jaguars. Leave some comments. Give us your predictions for the game. We'll see you next time. Spot on Jaguars. Brought to you by Teal Reign. We're out.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal, Eric.
It is kind of a big deal. I heard that one. I
Forgot
heard that
about
was a
that.
big holiday.
That's
Food and
his
football.
favorite.
That is a big deal. Food and football.
His nickname's Tater Salad.
I didn't know.
They call you Tater Tot.
Oh, that's good. High five. That was a good one.
Oh man. All right.